Welcome to Alga Guru. This is the second video on the introduction section, and on this one we will look at the very next level of introduction. So let's start by looking at one potential coding problem. And here on the top I have defined what the coding problem is going to be. Here there is a string which contains numeric values in it. In this particular case, it is 142875, and then there is an integer k is equal to 4. And the task here is to find the largest number that can be made out of the string in order. In order is the trick. You cannot like just simply swap the integers here and there. You have to find the largest number in order. And in this example string, the largest number is 4875, and the length of that output is 4. That is the value k. And I have like a couple of more test cases here. Another one is like string s is equal to 9398548 and k is equal to 2. So you have to find an output string which is the largest number in order in the string, and its length has to be 2, and the answer here is 99. The first 9 from index 0 and the second 9 from index 2. And the third test case, s is equal to 834348393 and k is 5, and we have to find an output string with the largest number with the size of k, which is 5, and the answer here is 88393. I'm not going into the actual solution of this problem, but I want this to be an introduction to what could potentially be a question in a coding interview. This is somewhat like a medium level question, and I also gave a hint over here. And the hint is to divide the string into smaller chunks and then find the largest in that range. And the biggest trick here is how to divide the string into smaller chunks. Think about it. There is a potential greedy way of doing it, and if I can just like go through that very quickly over here, just an overview, but I would still like for you guys to spend some time, think about it, come up with an optimal solution, which is going to be a big O of n solution. And let's take the last test case, which is 834348393 and k is equal to 5. So we need to find an output string which is of size 5. So how can we divide this string? We have to divide it or take like substrings, and then we have to compute the largest. So in this particular case, we know that there are 9 numbers in this string, or we can say, just for the sake of a little bit more simplicity, let's say there are 9 characters in it: 834348393. So when we pick the first substring, we need to make sure that we are leaving 4 out. We have to take only the first 5 so that we can pick the first number from it. We have to leave the 4 out. So in this case, we have to pick the first largest number from the group or substring 83434, which is the largest. We will pick 8. And what will be the next substring? Because we picked 8 at index 0, the next substring starts at index 1, 34348. What will be the largest? It will be 8. And so the next substring will start after 8, which will be 393. And at that point, we know that k is at this point 3. We pick the first 2. So 5 minus 2, which is 3. And the remaining is 393. So we don't have any other option. So we just have to go ahead and take that 393. And so that will form the answer as 88393. And I would still highly recommend going through this problem again, coming up with some potentially great solution. So when a coding question like this comes up, there are a lot of things that needs to be factored in. Very important thing is to ask follow-up questions. Why ask follow-up questions? For example, there are so many potential follow-up questions. One is, what if k is greater than the size of the given string? That's a definite error condition. So it's very important that you check that. There are come up with as many follow-up questions that you will ask with for this particular problem. Then come up with the test cases. I have given like 2 test cases. It's very important that the candidate will come up with at least 2 to 3 test cases to begin with, and try to find bugs ahead of time uh, before you even claim that you got the code right. It's important that to make sure that there are no bugs in the code. And always the critical thinking process is to how to solve it manually. Just look at that test case and see like, okay, how I will manually solve that problem. Always write clean code. It's very important that to write clean code with proper syntax and naming conventions. Even though we know that this code is never going into production, it's super critical to make sure that the code is well written. And here are some data structures at a very high level. We may go beyond that depending upon time, but these are definitely the data structures that everyone should be familiar with. And it starts with arrays, strings, linked lists, binary trees, which include binary search trees too. Then heaps, which are priority queues, then stacks and queues. Stacks are last in, first out, and queues are first in, first out. Then hash tables or maps, and then graphs. We will definitely go through a few questions on this. Plus, I will also look at some of the primitive data types and operations on them, which will be basically bit manipulation operations. And to take a look at algorithms, there are so many different algorithms that are operations that can be done on these data structures. And the most important ones are sorting, searching. Searching involves like going through like binary search and linear search. For sorting, there are quicksort and merge sort. Those are the 2 big things, but there are so many other n-square sorting algorithms. Recursion is again, it's a thinking process, like how the input goes into the function. There's backtracking, dynamic programming, greedy, divide and conquer. So we will cover all of these algorithms at some point over the course of next several weeks, and we will see at least 1 or 2 problems or maybe more on each of these topics.